Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of We Welcome Your Teams. In fact, the first episode of Season 8, as we bring you more from behind the scenes of the world of football stadium announcers. My name is Rich Hurst. I'm from West Brom, and here is my co-host from Manchester United, Mr. Alan Keegan. How are you, Al?
Always a pleasure, Ricardo. How are you, my friend? And of course, we're looking forward to the big, bright new season.
Welcome back. Good to see, as you are every season, donned in the latest merchandise from our friends at Old Trafford.
Well, it's nearly the latest. It is free. It is free.
In that case, it doesn't matter.
There's no charge, but straight back from Ireland.
Croke Park, saw that.
Park,
yes,
a very Rossi, you'll be aware of this one. We'll introduce you in a minute, but very, very big historic game at Croke Park, Man United versus Leeds United, because of the history of the GAA. Not because of the English-Irish politics, but that does dovetail into it. So it was great to be there, and fantastic occasion. 82,000 people in Croke Park watching a soccer game. So it was good. It was good.
Well, look, let's introduce our guest. I have the music that his team walks out to. So, ladies and gentlemen, for Season 8, Series 1, please welcome the voice of, got to get this right, Hill Dickenson Stadium, Everton's Simon Ross.
Hey.
Rossi, welcome. How are you?
It's on the tip of my tongue to say, and now, ladies and gentlemen, the fair play handshake will take place between both teams.
Oh.
I'm really good, Rich. I'm really good. Hello, Alan. You all right?
Yeah, great to meet you, Rich, and nice to have you on the programme. We've been trying to nail you down for quite a while, but you're here with us now, and we're looking forward to having a chat with you. You know, you're the voice of the Northwest in more ways than one, and, you've got the most listened to radio breakfast show, so all due credit to you, and nice to have you on our little podcast.
Did you just say you announced the fair play handshake?
Yes, and it doesn't.
Wow.
No, yeah, just when they line up before they do the handshake, I do that, ladies and gentlemen. Now the fair play handshake.
Wow.
Yeah,
will take place between both teams.
I've never heard of the handshake being announced. That is a new one on me.
Yeah, I've done that, even back in my Goodison days. I'm not even sure. I can't even remember when I was told to do it or asked to do it, but I do it ever since.
That's the gig. You get told to do it and then ask no questions until someone says stop.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll listen out for it now. We've played in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yes, our second home game.
Yeah.
It's Manchester United making that trip across the M62.
Now, obviously, you had a spell back at Goodison a while back, and we'll go into that in a tick. But I just want to know how much better Z-Cars sounds on Hill Dickerson's sound system to Goodison Park, or does it?
Well, it obviously the sound system at Hill Dickenson is amazing, but at the point it's played, I'm not really sort of listening for the quality. I'm just listening for the sounds and those drum beats kicking in and getting myself prepared.
It's timing.
I get the goosebumps every single time, and I guess you both know the history of why they use Z-Cars.
Go on, because there'll be people who don't know. Go on.
It's back in the 60s when Z-Cars were filming in Merseyside that there was some of the crew, some of the stars were invited along, and they played the Z-Cars theme tune, obviously as a mark of respect because they were in attendance. And Everton had a great win that day, and that was it. They kept it ever since.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And it is, I mean, I can imagine, speaking as someone who's gratefully the recipient of a new sound system for this coming season, and having done a couple of tests at the stadium, to me, everything sounds different. Insomnia sounds different, Liquidator sounds different. And I'm very much looking forward, I think, to the reaction of the fans when we have our first home game, which at time of recording is a couple of days away. But yeah, Alan, you said you're at Croke Park. What's that sound system like?
I'll tell you what. Rossi, have you ever been in it?
Loads of times. Yeah. I mean, I'm brought up in Armagh, so We've been there quite a few times when Armagh played Gaelic in the final. I was there in the semi-final in 1977. We didn't win it until 2002 for the first time, and we played Kerry, and I got tickets for me and my dad, who's a United fan, by the way.
Good on you. Good on him. What's his name?
We managed to get tickets to go and see that monumental historical day when Armagh won the All-Ireland, the Sam Maguire, for the first time. But it's an amazing stadium.
It is. It's an amazing stadium, as Rossi says, Rich. But just to give you a bit of a backdrop on this, so the final, what Rossi's on about, you win what's called the Sam Maguire Cup, and obviously it's Gaelic football. And this year, it's on my bucket list. I've never been to an All-Ireland final. So I got asked by a friend of mine who I'd done some events for, who's involved with the GAA, did I want to go to this year's final? So I said, I'd love to go. When is it? Last Sunday in July. I put it in the diary. And I'm very fortunate, Rossi, because I've got a place in Ireland. So
Brilliant.
That all worked out really well. So I'm always there, as Richie knows. But to go and see it, experience the stadium for the first time, Rich, was unbelievable. The sound system is incredible. They've got a fantastic screen, but one end of the stadium isn't covered. What's it called, Rossi? The Hill something?
Hill 16.
Hill 16, which has got a historic reference to it, which we won't go into now.
I watched the that United Leeds game they had there on telly, and it looked an incredible place to be playing football. At one point, I thought for a second, Alan, that it would be you and Lee from Leeds sharing the announcing duties, as if it was like a European Cup final or something like that. But they had somebody else instead doing neutral announcements.
It wouldn't be fair on the lad who normally does it, would it? Because that's a big gig, and But just very quickly, slipping back to that All-Ireland final, what an occasion. And the captain, have a look at it on YouTube. Rossi, what's it like? The captain has to do a speech.
In Irish.
Yeah, but also, like, it's like Mel Gibson in
okay, not Delia Smith at Norwich.
Yeah, well, no.
Yeah.
Honestly, incredible it is. It goes up and it does this speech, and after 75 years, the County Mayo won the All-Ireland final. Anyway, back to Rossi.
There's a funny thing about the design of that stadium. I mentioned my home city, Armagh, won it in 2002, and they won it a couple of years ago as well. But I had a friend come up from London, and I've got this big bird's eye view photograph of Croke Park on the day Armagh played Kerry. My mates from Kerry bought it for me. It's huge. It's in my hallway. And my mate had come up from London, and he's a big gooner, and he was looking, and he goes, that's like the Emirates. And I went, mate, the Emirates was designed on the design of Croke Park. Yeah. So that was a similarity. It's very, very similar.
Yeah, it is. If you look at an aerial shot, Rich, you'll see that, apart from the open end, But I've got a very good friend from Armagh, and if you get a chance as well, Rich, they won it. Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2024.
2024. You want to look at the YouTube, the captain's speech that day before he lifts the Sam Maguire. I mean, all our lot do is just go up at the FA Cup and hold it up, and that's it. This fella's doing 5 and 10 minute speeches before he lifts it up.
Wow.
Yeah, it's incredible.
You could catch on that, catch that on that. All major finals in places, even just before, I mean, we spend ages trying to curate our scripts in the, the 5 minutes before kickoff. And to the captain, let him do it.
Yeah.
We won't get the blame for it when it goes wrong then either.
Well, that'll make a change.
Exactly.
Tell me about it.
Oh yeah. Well, look, Rossi, let's get into life as the announcer then. So, tell us about how you ended up at Hill Dickenson, because you've got a good stadium announcing past behind you.
Yeah, well, I worked around a little bit. So I worked in fact, I did do a little bit of stadium announcing at the old Wembley Stadium on behalf of Capital Radio. Myself and a guy called Mike Sweeney, who, Alan, you'll know from Manchester, a big United fan. All right, so we went and we did on behalf of Arsenal. It was a European Championship. Champions League game. Champions League game. I And that was a one-off. We were just sort of thrown in at the deep end, and we'd get some scripts to read, before the game and at halftime and stuff like that. And then when I went to Leeds in 2001, the opportunity came up to be the stadium announcer at Ellen Road. And Leeds were flying then. They had quite the squad. And so I did that for 3 seasons. And then I moved across to Merseyside, of course, across the 62, to work at Radio City, and the gig at Everton became available. They asked me to do it, and I was thrown in at the deep end. It was a Europa game, and in fact, it's going to be 21 years on Monday, the 24th of August, 2005. Villarreal v at Everton, and I was just chucked in at the deep end again, and yeah, it was good. It was a good night.
Yeah, great memories. Great. Yeah, there's nothing like that. Great memories. And then you had a bit of a break, didn't you, from Everton?
Yes. So I did 10 seasons. Then I took a little bit of a break. That was more or less to do with
Radio.
the contract with City and both teams, Liverpool and Everton. There was a little bit of an issue, and I was supplied to them from City. And as a result, we sort of shook hands and parted company for a little while. But then a while later, I was asked to go back to be the last voice of Goodison and then the first voice of Hill Dickenson.
Wow. And is there much of a difference, Rossi? Is there much? How do you feel? That was a great perch that you had at Goodison, wasn't it?
It was. It was probably, for me personally, at Goodison was better because I was right between both teams. So I could see, and I know where you stand at Old Trafford, but I could see each of the team staff writing out the substitute cards and handing them. So I always had an eye on the cards. I could see who was coming off, who was coming on. So I'm a little bit further away at Hill Dickenson. No real complaints because it's an amazing seat. But we just wait. There's an app, and I'm sure you're well aware, the Premier League app. So we got to wait for the fourth official to give it to the Premier League guy. He puts it on the app, and then it comes to us. So we get that before the board goes up.
Gosh, I've heard this app mentioned a few times, but obviously you high flying Premier League chaps. I know I've moaned before about the sort of like the attempts that we have to make to try and get the subs from the board, crick our necks, turn upside down whilst he's either putting them into the board or they're passing cards around. And sometimes we have to hijack the coach on the way to the fourth to try and tell us what he's got, and some will show us, some won't show you, all of that kind of thing. An app, it sounds, in practice, it sounds brilliant. I'd worry in theory about signal delays, about app refreshes, Wi-Fi's going down, all that kind of stuff.
There was a couple of tiny little issues, and there always are when you're doing things live. Not everything goes to plan at all times. One in particular, and you get a sixth sense hold back, and it was against Leeds United, and it came up that a player was coming off, and his name was Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and it must have gone around the stadium, but we hadn't been sent the number, and he started to appear to come off, and all the boos. So we got the number of the next Leeds United player coming on. In fact, it was a triple substitution. And I could see him walking, but I'm thinking, I've not got his number here as one of the players coming off. So I held back. And the next day, I don't know how it came through, number 7. But I saw their manager tell him to go back and play. So then he got booed again when he went back onto the pitch because he was sort of like, the sidelines. And I held back. And in fact, I think I actually ended up not doing the triple substitution just because play had started, and I thought it's the away team with no disrespect, but I thought if it was 1 off, 1 on, then I would have done it. But 6, 3 off, 3 on, I thought I'm going to just leave this here. But I was so glad I didn't jump in with that substitution.
Oh yeah, this is the constant. I always feel like there's a window. There is a window with subs to do it, and if for whatever reason, technical, whatever, you go past it, you just abandon it. I go back to that Leeds United Man United friendly when Leeds changed pretty much their entire team at half time, and I just wondered, what is the announcer going to do here?
Yeah, he had a go at it. Fair play to him. And I was sat there with a little smile on my face, thinking, that is a tough one, you know. But he had a go at it, and you know, but you know, he went through it, and he obviously he did it afterwards. You know, he waited till he got
Still
older.
going.
Yeah, the game was going on. Who's your Premier League manager, Rossi? Is it Martin? Martin O'Boyle.
Michael is the guy that looks after us. Yeah, he's a great guy, fantastic guy.
Yeah, he's filled in for Martin O'Boyle at Old Trafford.
Is Martin? Is he an Everton fan?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Yes, because he sat beside us last season.
Yeah.
I think Michael was very good and let him do the derby. I'm pretty sure.
Right.
So that was rather kind.
Yeah.
So it's Michael, and he's brilliant. He's great to work with. I have a lot of time for Michael.
Yeah. I've tried to avoid the app, Rich, because obviously I'm
okay. You stay old school.
Well, my argument is I tend to help them tell who the sub is, you know, because a lot of the fourth officials are right next to me. So
I see that. I often see that, and I'm saying, you know, Alan's getting the heads up way ahead. Yeah, and it's so that's quite a forward. Because do you remain standing? I think you do.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I've got my infamous lectern now. You know.
Yes.
So
very good.
I put my folder on it, and I'm all geared up, and I've got my little rain protector underneath to keep it dry if it rains. And then I'm there, like, you know, always have a chat with the backroom lads and make sure the fourth official, you know, always welcome him. And then they'll half show at you, you know, and see. But they're not like the old boys, you know, the old fourth officials or the refs. There was a bit of banter, but the new guys, they're very straight and very
focused. It's a profession, it's
very
a business,
serious
and all the rest
now.
of it.
Yeah, and of course you've got to remember, my ones in the Championship are working as hard as they can to you know, get promoted to the blooming Premier League as well. So they do it even more.
Well, yeah.
Wowza. So on Saturday just gone, we played Lille, and talking about substitutions, etc. Lille had an injury, and it was an early substitution, earlier than you would get at a friendly.
Yeah.
But there was no Everton substitutions at half time, but I think it had been pre-agreed. So it was a 7-man swap. So there was another triple substitution from Lille. And then it was just 7 of our players lined up. So the fourth official didn't even bother with the board. It was just, so I didn't know who was coming on to replace who. So the guy that was working with Paul on Saturday just said, just do the players that were coming on. So I went through that, and
Nice.
And we had a new player coming on as well, number 22, and I sort of saved that to the end, so he got a big cheer.
Nice.
That's quite a good idea, actually.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, to do that. Yeah, I might steal that one, Rossi.
We'll have a few new names come Saturday that will be making their home debuts. But I've never been told to emphasise anyone in particular. I always remember, Alan, you talking about the time that Ronaldo came back to United.
Yeah.
And Fergie asked you to kind of save his name to the end on the read, even though he's number 7.
Yeah, Rossi. This is one where when he came back with Real Madrid, not to Old Trafford as a player. When he was playing for Real Madrid, he came back, and Fergie, it's an infamous story that I tell, but basically Fergie had a word with me and said, when you welcome them back, because we normally do the away team first and then...
Yes, likewise.
Yeah, and Fergie said, switch it. He said, do United first, do Real Madrid, we always do the starting 11, that's it. The starting 11, and do Ronaldo last. Obviously, he was number 7, so, you know... I did him last and welcome back, and the stadium erupted, and you know he was very emotional. Ronaldo, you could see, you know, but it still didn't stop him scoring and beating.
I was going to say, I wondered if that was Fergie either trying to put the attention on him that he didn't want, or actually paying him a compliment, and it was probably a bit of both, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit of both. You know, it was one of those, but I still think he was trying to get into his head, you know, for the game.
I wish they'd use us more for a bit of the dark arts. I think most of us would be all up for it somehow. If we can chip it, I know, you know, in some cases we can, you know, maybe play the odd song here and there that might, you know, just have a little reference in it somewhere that we can, you know, chip in that way and all that kind of thing. But I think we'd be well deployed as a weapon for the dark arts.
Well, I don't get to play anything. I only get to open the mic, close the mic. I don't control the volume. It's all controlled from an area studio above. So I don't play any tunes. But last season, I think one of the teams were coming out a little bit late or something, but they played they played the Sirens before Z Cars, and then that faded out. The teams weren't ready, so they played it again, and then they played it a third time. So on socials, I was going, "Why the hell is Rossi playing the Sirens 3 times?" And my dear friend Julia Bowl, who's brilliant, and she covers when I'm off, and I try not to miss any games, but sometimes you know what it's like. You've got things booked. And she does a lot for Everton. You'll have seen her doing stuff for Radio Merseyside. She's a brilliant journalist and a brilliant stadium announcer. But she jumps in. I'll just let you know that Rossi is not in control of any music. He doesn't play it. Yeah. She's got my back every time.
Yeah.
You need that. I think a few more of us could do with a Julia.
Yeah. We all get that. I get it sometimes where I'll look into the stand and I'll have a guy, I don't know why, and he's like that, putting his fingers in his ear, looking at it, turning it down. And I go, look, I haven't got a mixing desk here. I'm like you. I'm just holding the mic. You know, I'm not. There's no sort of equipment around. Because
you've got the team in your ear, haven't you? Can you kind of talk to them if at the same time you hold your ear and talk to them and say, guys, can you just turn it down? And then whilst he's watching you could just hold your hand up and physically look like you're turning down, and then he'll think you have got control.
Well, yeah, I might try that then. I'll do that the next time. But yeah, normally it's just like, guys, can we just turn it down? The usual one is, and I think I saw this in the group this week, where when Sky are at the side of the pitch, we always get whoever the manager for Sky, the floor manager, coming over, just turn it down, guys. We're just doing an interview with X, Y, and Z, and it's like, come on, guys, we're all trying to work together here.
This is a tough one, isn't it? Especially if they're doing it, a few minutes before kickoff, 5-10 minutes before kickoff. We're all in our peak post-match hype mode, whatever it is, whatever we're playing, whatever videos are running, whatever music's going. You can't turn that down.
This is, I remember Andy Gray in my first tenure as a stadium announcer at Goodison used to refer to me as the loudest stadium announcer in the Premier League. I used to, sometimes it would be a little bit louder than others, and to get your lip right on the mic, and just get right involved.
Nice. So. No, were those the days? Did you have the mixing desk next to you then as well, or was that still being done by somebody? Never touched it. Never touched it. Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know.
Let me not near technology, as you well know, Rich. Let me not near any technology whatsoever.
Yeah, tell me when it's on. Tell me when it's off. Basically, yeah, I get it, 100%. Yeah, well, we've got people in charge now running all sorts of stuff for us. So I am literally, cue out, cue in, off we go. But yeah, it is a funny one, and because we're the ones sort of pitch side, obviously we're the ones, whether we're in control of it or not, that Sky will come up to and say, Can you just whack it down a little bit, please? And depending on who it is and depending on where we are, I can radio up, but I can tell you what 2 words I like to get back.
Yeah. And we never swear on a mic.
But we don't swear on a mic. No, of course not. Of course not. And Rossi, you talked about those kind of dropped in at the deep end in a couple of occasions.
Yeah.
I'm interested in which of those was the one that I suppose sticks with you the most as an experience, because you mentioned Wembley for one of those when Arsenal were playing their Champions League games there. That's quite one to be thrown in at the deep end.
Well, to be honest, I wasn't doing the duties that us three would do that day. We were there just to read a few little scripts. I think it was some kind of sponsorship contra deal with Capital Radio, Wembley, and Arsenal, and I think we were just there. I mean, we didn't do team news or anything like that. I didn't have to do 2 goals or substitutions. It was there to read off a couple of little scripts.
Gotcha.
And that really was it. I did do Wembley when we played Liverpool in the semi-finals in 2012, 2014, 2012, 2012. God, my mind's going as I get older. That was incredible. That was incredible. But the only thing is that slight delay when, you're reading out, like, if I say Jordan Pickford, next thing I'd hear Jordan Pickford as I start to do the next player. That was a little bit, you just had to go with it. You just jumped in the water and go with the flow and don't try and sort of like fight it. But it was a mega experience.
I'll add that to my notes. I've spent the last 8 years of this podcast making notes of the things you need to remember when you actually finally get to announce at Wembley. And that's another one I'll add. I will say I've been most torn this year because the EFL have announced that up to 8th place in the Championship now has got a shout at the playoffs. So if you finish eighth or between eighth and third, you've got a chance of going to Wembley. And of course, if your team goes to the playoff final, then your announcer goes as well. And I've been on the brink a couple of times the last couple of seasons, not so much recently. But I think, I hate the fact that we've had to do this to make the Championship more appealing, because it is, in my opinion, the best league in the world. But at the same time, if we finish eighth and I get to Wembley, I'll blooming take it.
You'll take it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Wembley's Wembley.
Absolutely.
Wembley
is Wembley. Even if everybody hates it and they scrap it after a season, if it gets me inside that stadium on that mic with those fans, don't care.
If that was the case, so what we did, it was myself and Peter McDowell did the team news. So we did the team news twice, I think. And then we did a little bit of geeing up the crowd. So I was geeing up the Everton fans, but in the direction of the Liverpool fans playing the devil's advocate. And I was getting a lot of stick from the red side of Merseyside that day, which I loved. It was the main stadium announcers. They've got their own stadium announcer, did the bulk of it. He did the goals, substitutions. We didn't do anything like that.
You just did
the team news, the guys were warming up, and then we did the team news just before kickoff. But my God, you're looking around and it was like, wow. And then you remember how many people are watching worldwide as well, the FA Cup final game.
Yeah.
Not bad, mate. Not bad.
That was a semi-final, I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
Not bad. Not bad. So look, at Everton on your now you're a season in Hill Dickenson. That you've had that first season. You've I suppose ironed out a few things now, because anything can happen with a new stadium like that. What's it mean then to be going and doing that on a match day?
It's a pleasure. It's an absolute privilege, and we're all privileged to be doing that. I'll tell you, I wake up early because I've been doing breakfast for God knows how long. So my body doesn't know when I'm on holidays or when it's the weekend. So I normally am up at about 5 o'clock. So say for a 3 o'clock kickoff, those rare things, 3 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday. And so I'll be awake at 5. So I normally get up and do a little bit of work and potter around and whatever. And then I'll make a cup of coffee and do this and do that. And I have a bit of a lazy morning. And then I walk to the ground. So it's exactly 1 hour from my house door to door.
Wow.
So I walk, as was Goodison the other way. It was 1 hour the other way. So I just walk, and I normally fall in with fans on my merry way, and we'll get chatting, and either, Everton fans from town, Everton fans who've travelled to be there, and I always have a good old natter and a good old banter. So I get there if it's 3 o'clock kickoff, I get there shortly before 1, and I think my first link's about 25 past 1. And I get my script sent to me the day before, which is really helpful.
Yes.
Really, really helpful.
Yes. Do they know it's you when you're walking through with the fans? Do they know it's you and you?
There's something that really surprised me the last couple of seasons is kids who would never have heard of me on Radio City. Now I get people in their late teens, early 20s would have been kids going to school when I was working Radio City, which was the station for Liverpool in the Northwest. But kids only recognise me from doing the stadium announcer, because I do a lot of stuff to the screen as well. So we've got a lot of little, quizzes and stuff like that we do. Toffee teasers, Who's the Blue? We do Higher or Lower, which is good fun. So, in fact, somebody shouted across a little kid with his mum, and he's going, Rossi, I'm really surprised and taken aback, because obviously people got to know me via my radio career. I've been doing radio for an awful long time. But it's the kids that recognise you. They don't know me from radio at all. It's just from doing what I do at Hill Dickenson, which is a lovely thing. Yeah.
You've been reborn, Rossi. You've been reborn.
Well, this is it. I'm looking future listeners to my breakfast show. When they grow up and go to work, they can.
Do they still do? Is it Rayjar? Do they still do that?
They still do Rayjar. We had it a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, did you get your bonus?
Well, breakfast went really well, but sadly I didn't get a bonus. But there you go. But if I had new listeners, that's a bonus.
There you go. Correct answer. Yeah. Correct answer. Do those same people chat to you on the way back? And does anyone on the way back from the ground say anything the same as people say to you on social media about it being too loud? And why did you play Z cards 3 times?
Do you know what? I honestly bump into so many different people that I've never met before on the way back. And as I say, if it's a normal Saturday, my wife comes down and we go to a nearby hotel, which is dog friendly. So she takes Mickey Boy, the Jack Russell, and we meet up there. And there's always a fair gathering of Mighty Blues fans. And normally end up having banter and a few selfies and a laugh and a beer. And it's always a really, really good vibe. So,
Right.
you know,
Brilliant.
It's you know, don't get me wrong. I do get I do get ripped apart sometimes, but there you go. That comes with the territory.
Yeah,
and
it does.
You know,
it's social media has a lot to answer for, Rossi. It's
but
you know,
you just gotta grin and bear it, and
I don't
and just go on. Just if your bosses are happy, that's all you need.
Yeah,
that's all you need.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What's been your best game, Rossi? Your favourite game?
I'm going to touch on this game a couple of times, and it was recent. Listen, over the years, it would be hard to cherry pick. There's plenty of moments, but I mean, and it was a draw, and it was the last ever Merseyside derby at Goodison, and we went 1-0 up, and then suddenly we were 2-1 down, and then our captain,
Jackie Elkis.
Tarkovsky.
Tarkovsky.
Got that late goal in added time, which was great. The celebrations were off the scale, and then it sounds like a swear word, VAR.
Oh.
And at that stage, I had to announce if it wasn't a goal, which I don't have to do anymore, thank God. And there was about a 6-minute wait, and that was the longest 6 minutes of my life, because I was saying to Nick, who works alongside me, his great guy is Nick Teal. He said, I said, Nick, please don't make me, please. He goes, Rossi, you have to. If it's disallowed, you've got to announce it. I swear to God, when it came up, it was a goal. I got back in the mic and I announced that like I've never announced a goal in my life before. It was just wow, and that was it.
Yeah.
It was beautiful bedlam.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Gosh, I mean. Having never touched VAR, whether I'm grateful for that or not, I didn't know that in the past you'd have had to announce if it was disallowed.
Yeah, you did. I thought that was cruel, and any stadium announcer having to do that.
Yeah.
I just don't like being. There's some reads that I find that they have to be done. It's important that they're done, but I don't like to be the delivering this sort of, well, these are rules, these are regulations. So I record them. I say, rather than me do it on the day, can I record them, in a sort of flat, sort of, informative way. So I'm not having to do it amongst doing all the smiley bits on camera, with the competitions, the higher or lower and everything else. I just don't want to be negative,
Yeah.
Yes.
I've pre-recorded all ours, the VAR messages.
Right. Right, okay.
Yeah, we've pre-recorded all them because I was like you. But in saying that, I didn't announce that it was VAR or whatever. Anyway, someone else did that, but then they asked me to come in and do the records for them. They give me the lines, and now they just press a button and it comes over. VAR check.
Getting it. That's
all right.
Getting a little bit.
Idea. I'm going to suggest that. I'm going to suggest that on maybe Friday.
Yeah, but it's like you say, Rossi, because on the day you're in another mindset, aren't you? And if the goal's scored and everything else,
it's true. It's I get it.
I went in pre-season last year and recorded about half a dozen different. ways.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. So even though it's your voice or my voice or yours, Richie, we're not doing it on the day.
Yeah.
It's as you say. Yeah. It's like an old cartridge.
Loaded up.
An old Sony Effects cartridge.
Bang. Yeah.
I'm careful because you're getting into the realms of AI there, and banking everything, and not at one point not needing to be there in person, which is what scares me. Eventually, because if there's enough stuff, you just record, just as if you're doing FIFA, Alan. You just read out every player's name. Every stadium, every eventuality, and they piece it all together for you. And you don't even have to. I don't know about that.
Well, we've got to enjoy it, guys, because as you know, AI's on the way, and you'll be interviewing an AI, whatever robot it'll be in a few years, Rich. So be none of this stuff.
don't
I
know.
hope this continues. I
Yeah.
hope it continues. I think you don't get the warmth from AI. You don't get, that personal touch. You don't get the flaws.
You don't get the mistakes, Rossi. That's what makes us.
This is it.
Tell you what,
makes us the announcers we are.
At Man United, though, it saves them a heck of a load on free merchandise they have to give out, though.
They save a fortune, as you can see, but you
They
can't
would.
hear. But yeah, they would. They would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the
Put
stuff.
my requests in.
I bet. Yeah, I bet. Rossi, what's your match day? Have you got match day attire?
I can wear basically whatever I want, but I tend to wear, blue jeans, suit jacket, and blue shirt. Or I might wear in this winter like a navy jumper and a white shirt. But I've just got, if it's a really good day, if it's not raining, then I'll wear like a suit. I've got a couple of blue suits that I rotate normally with trainers. So, but I'm just left to my own devices, really.
Nice.
I'm not told to wear anything specific. Obviously, I don't wear anything red, with all due respect.
I like that, but then that's good because because there's a mixture. You can some people whack the training wear on. Some people will go the suited and booted route, or somewhere in those realms anyway. Al forever has been suited and booted. I know that for a fact.
Yeah. It's just
never changed.
Yeah, the club want it, and
I love that.
No problem with it.
No,
it's fine.
No.
If I was told wear a suit, shirt, and tie, then if they want that, that's it. They just, as I said, I've got a couple of suits to rotate. I've got a new one which I was going to wear for the Lille game last week, but I wore a blue suit that I've had before, so I'm saving the new one for the Premier League.
Yeah, we'll have a look out for that.
Yeah. Keep an eye out. Match of the day. I'll be back. That'll be what we're looking for. There it is. There's the new suit. And of course, we'll be the only people interested in that bit. Everybody else is watching for the.
Indeed.
This is where we sit. We sit down with match of the day, and all I'm interested in is, what did they say before the game? What did they, and that's when match of the day are normally doing their team graphics, aren't they? But I'm like, pipe down, Steve Bauer. I'm trying to hear what Rossi's saying before kickoff.
Yeah.
Have you goal music? Have you got it at Everton?
No. I do a thing. I do the away goals when the away fans are cheering. So it's in the mix of them cheering. So I do it. When Everton score, I let our fans cheer. The cheer go down, and then I bring it in.
Then you come in. Yeah. No.
And my inflection and presentation is slightly different.
Yeah. It's got to be tweaked for the away team. Or I say tweak. We turn the enthusiasm down. And then turn it up when you want to. Absolutely. That goal music has been mentioned at West Brom this year. I don't know whether it's a genuine threat or whether it's a rumor somewhere. But I've heard it mentioned in the corridors. I'm slightly worried. I know how it's going to go down if it happens, but I don't want to speak up because it's decisions way above my pay grade. I suppose I'll just get the helmet out and prepare for the social media pelters if it happens.
Yeah.
Gold music, it's quite American. What about the stadium announcers at the World Cup?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you about. What you thought about them? We had Marco Peralta on a couple of episodes back at the end of last season. Who was the guy who did Mexico City? He was brilliant. He had some really good stories, really good insight on what it's like to do it in a World Cup. But yeah, they really went for it with announcements, music everywhere. Wow.
I mean, they announced yellow cards.
I know.
Could you imagine?
Wow.
Especially if it's,
They announced it like, hey, it's such and such, number 26 has just been yellow carded. And you go, hey?
Yeah. Especially if it's for your team as well, and it's a controversial decision. I mean, heck.
I'll tell you what, lads, there'll be a sponsor for that in a few years. Yellow card sponsored by, Rossi Enterprises. There will be. You mark my words on that.
It's coming. What were you looking forward to most about the new season, Rossi?
I feel really, really positive. I think we had a really good run in the last third of the season last year, and then obviously, we were talking Europe. All the fans were talking Europe. And it got to the stage where what last season was like. 2 wins and you're right in the thick of it. You're now looking at Champions League. And there was even that, and it just didn't happen. And it didn't, it didn't end the way we would hope. I've got a real positive feeling about going into this season, and it was really nice to see Hayden Hackney last week. He started, and he actually, we did a little poll with a QR code at the end. Alan Stubbs picked out, I think, 4 or 5 players, and then you voted who was your man of the match. And Hayden Hackney actually won, so that was good to see. Brennan Johnson come on and looked really, really good, really good.
Wow.
And I just feel there's a good vibe, and I think, you know, some players that maybe took a little bit of flack last year, I think will come through this year, and you know they'll prove their worth.
And there are 2 players, by the way, with, I mean, this is proper stadium announcer geek stuff, but those are 2 players with some great names to announce when they score. 2-syllable first name, 2-syllable last name. Give it some on the mic. It just works better.
It does,
doesn't it?
You say that.
I feel for you every time Beto scores. Not that it's been that often, but you know, how can you give it some with a 2-syllable one name? Come on,
Rich. A few back in I don't know, about 10 years ago, there was a guy that came across again the 62 from Manchester City. First of all, he played in a number which I don't like to even mention. It comes after 12 and comes before 14.
wow! Okay.
And he was Joe.
Oh, right.
And he scored for Everton, I'm sure he did. And it was just, you know, as you say, I mean, at least Beto has got 2 syllables. It was just
better than Joe.
Joe. Yeah.
Everyone's waiting for a second name. It's like, no, just Joe.
No, that's it. That's all you're getting.
Yeah.
Just
But
Joe.
I remember watching telly, Sky Sports News. I think it was back in, I don't know, 2007 maybe. And I saw something flash up with the volume down. Everton have got a brand new signing, and it showed you him coming. I think he was coming through the airport, getting picked up at the airport. But the name was printed up, and I went, "Holy mackerel! What the hell does that say?"
Yeah.
And again, you look at names and they go, "What is that?" And then when you say it, it's quite easy. It's Dinia Billy Letinov. Was a Russian player.
Billy Letinov, I remember him. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they all called him Billy because David Moyes used to go, "Billy, get ready, you're coming on,
Yeah.
Billy."
Yeah.
But Dinia Billy Letinov, so that wasn't too hard.
No.
I did get stuck in a name once, and it wasn't that I couldn't pronounce it. Do you know what? Like, you'll relate to this. You've both done radio. I remember doing the weather and getting stuck on scattered showers. Scattered showers wasn't coming out. I could have tried it 100 times. It wasn't coming out. Shattered showers.
Yeah.
It just wasn't coming
It's
out.
going to be raining.
And it was.
I was the same with Matchy Pissed. Sorry.
It was. Yeah. It was. I tell you, Phil Neville had just come back from injury, and he was starting on the bench, and we were playing Villa, and I was going down the team sheet for Villa, and I got to number 11, and Gabriel Bonlahor would not come out for love nor bloody money. I swear to you, it was number 11, Gabriel Alagbag, and it just wouldn't. And Phil was giving it to me in the ears. What's his name? What's his name? And I was going, oh, please stop this, because I've got to go to the main part, which is our team news. But the funny thing was, the following season, when Villa were coming back to Goodison, I'd only just started on Twitter, so I was getting all these messages. How are you going to go with Gabby tomorrow, Rossi? How are you going to go? So when I introduced his name, there was a massive cheer from a certain section of the Everton fans. And then he was subbed, and when he was coming off, and I went, coming off number 11, Gabriel Bonlahor, there was another cheer, and he was looking around Goodison as if to say, what's going on here? Am I coming on a free transfer? Has somebody not told me something? It was most bizarre, really bizarre.
Yeah.
I
You don't
love
forget
that.
them moments, do you?
No, you're right.
You don't.
You're
You're not allowed to forget
No.
them. You'll never be allowed to forget them.
No, that's true. That's very true. And you've got a better spot to watch the game from now than you had before.
Where I was situated at Goodison was probably better, as I mentioned earlier, where you could have an eye on the trainers handing over the sub cards. But it's an amazing seat. It's sometimes you're there and you. First of all, when games in full flow, you sort of switch into super fan mode, but you've got to pull yourself back a little bit to remind yourself you're not here as a fan, you're here to work, that kind of thing. But as I mentioned at the start, it's an absolute privilege to do what we do.
Just got to make sure we don't get caught, doing. Who was Fergie's assistant manager who went out on the pitch? Brian Kidd.
Yeah, Brian Kidd.
I've been close to that a couple of times. In the air, knees on the ground. No, hold back.
It was famously back in '89 when Mike Tyson and Frank Bruno met for the first time, and Frank landed that big uppercut in Las Vegas. And it was Harry Carpenter that let his guard down and says, "Go on, Frank, my son, go on." And he said he really regretted it afterwards. I don't think anybody had any issue with it whatsoever.
Exactly. Is your seat got a cup holder? Is it one of the posh padded seats? Any leather going on up there?
It's padded, okay.
Oh, yeah, nice.
It's padded. We do have a cup holder, but I leave my wired mic, that it fits in there nicely.
Okay,
so,
nice.
Yeah.
Okay. And are you well? Yeah, of course. Are you well catered for, Rossi?
I can have the spread that they put on in the media room is
That's
unbelievable.
The place they get to.
It's like hotel standard. But I tend to, as I say, have breakfast late on a Saturday morning of a match day. I don't really eat anything when I get there. I mean, it's all there, and you can help yourself. I normally go and I'll grab. I don't drink fizzy drinks, but some days, if it's going to be a long day, I'll have a Coca-Cola and then 2 bottles of water, and that's it. And then I'll have dinner late in the evening. But yes, we're well catered for. Well,
I like that. You're a cheap date. You that's what I'd keep you on as my stadium announcer purely for the catering. But
yeah. 2 bottles of water and a bottle of
Coke. He's happy. Oh, crack it. Well, look. Thank you for today, and thank you for just taking us behind the scenes. I keep going to say Goodison. I mean Hill Dickenson.
Listen, I'm telling you now, I've had to write it, and I'll continue for the first part of this season. I had to. And then they would give me scripts to refer to the women's game at Goodison. And I said, I don't want to get Goodison in my psyche at all. So, and another thing I was told before we moved there, it's Hill Dickenson Stadium and not the Hill Dickenson Stadium. So it's got to be Hill Dickenson.
You hear people, this goes on. We could go on for this about people calling it like the Bet 365, but then it's not the Old Trafford, is it? But we are the Hawthorns, but it's not the Hill Dickenson. Oh my Lord.
But I am really looking forward. And again, as I mentioned, I've got a really positive vibe. I think a lot of players will have gelled. I think, Kieran Dewsbury, like last season was just unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable.
In my fantasy team this year.
So, he's got his new number 8 now. He's so looking forward to seeing him putting more goals in the back of the net and brilliant assists. So looking forward to that. And Barry is looking a lot better. He looked well. Sadly, he didn't get a score, but he looked great last week.
You've got a good few 2-syllable first name, last name goal scorers on your hands there, haven't you?
Yeah,
I'm very jealous.
We'll be listening out, Rossi. So make sure
Yeah, no pressure whatsoever on Saturday.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Crystal Palace team tomorrow. Thank God for that little Premier League video that they send you. When the players
so jealous.
They do all we are gifted in that respect.
Yeah.
The EFL need to get their act together with that one. Seriously, goodness me. Well, look, it sounds like you've got plenty of lovely perks there, but as with all of us, we would do our job, with a cup of water and nothing else, as long as we got to still do that gig, wouldn't we? Of course we would. Look, great to have you on. Final question we ask everyone before we finish on the pod is, in your view, what makes a great stadium announcer?
I think genuine passion. Obviously, you need to have a fairly decent voice. That kind of helps. But I think genuine passion and really strong delivery is probably what you need, and that little added bit of concentration, and not to get carried away and not to get distracted with things going on around you, because there's a lot going on in match day. And obviously, people who've never done stadium announcing before don't really get to see that. But sometimes there's loads going on in your ear over there and over there when you're trying to read a script or do a substitution or a triple substitution. So it's concentration, great delivery, and I think genuine passion.
Yeah, no, you're so right. We've talked about that before when like we have our like key moment just before we're about to do like the big read that we do every single game, and someone just comes up to you and go, "Mate, do you know where I can get where I can find the nearest or are those sandwiches from down over there, or can I get them back there?" Not now. Rossi, mate, great. Thank you very much. Great to have you on. Best of luck for the rest of the season, and we're all...
Alan, God bless you, and hopefully we'll see you both in person soon. Take care. Cheers, pal. Bye-bye.
Thanks, mate.